Hey guys, welcome back to my channel, and if you're new to my channel, hello, my name is Gabby and welcome to my strange little YouTube channel. Now today we are going over another case that is going to be a part of my Vintage and Vanished series. If you don't know what that is, I started a series on my channel not long ago where I go over missing persons cases from long ago. Today we are going over a case that has to do with the disappearance of a child, and as I said in previous videos that had to do with missing children cases, they just hit a different nerve. Today we are talking about the disappearance of a beautiful little girl named Beverly Potts. Beverly Potts was born April 15th, 1941 in Cleveland, Ohio, to parents Robert and Elizabeth Potts. She was known for being a very quiet, shy, and just all around a sweet little girl. For being 10 years old, Beverly was very responsible, and of course, just like any 10-year-old, she did get into trouble here or there, but all around, she was just a really good kid. She was set to be entering the 5th grade and at the time was living on Lynette Avenue with her parents and her older sister, Anita, who was 22 years old. One thing about Beverly is that she was absolutely in love with and completely fascinated by the performing arts, and one of her favorite things to do every year was go to an annual summer performance festival called Showagon. Going to this Showagon was something Beverly loved doing every year. It was like a little festival where kids would go and see a lot of different performers who performed for free. It was an event that a lot of families went to every summer. The event was held at Halloran Park, which was located an eighth of a mile from where Beverly lived. Beverly and her neighbor friend, a girl named Patricia Swing, or nicknamed Patsy, were planning on going together this year, but Beverly was actually a little bit scared to ask her mother to go because she actually got in trouble not long before for staying out too late at Halloran Park. Halloran Park was a place that many kids went to during the day, but as soon as the sun set, it was a pretty sketchy place and parents pretty much wanted their kids home by sunset, but Beverly's mother knew that she loved going to this every year, so she said that she could go. On August 24th, 1951 at 7 p.m., Beverly and Patricia got on their bikes and left for the show. They got to Showagon and they realized pretty quickly that with their bikes it was pretty hard to maneuver through the festival, so since they lived not far from Halloran Park, they decided to ride back home, leave their bikes at their houses, and then walk back to the festival. They did this and they got back to the festival around 8 p.m. So it starts getting dark around 8:30 p.m. and Patricia told Beverly that she promised her parents that she would be back home by dark, so she was planning on leaving soon. And she kind of wanted Beverly to go with her, but Beverly said that her parents said that she could stay for the entire thing. Beverly's parents didn't really want her there after dark, but they figured that this festival has so many people there every year. It's so crowded. It had approximately 1,500 people there, and it was so close to the house that they figured that she would be completely fine. So Patricia started leaving, and this is a very strange detail to this case. Patricia says that her last memory of Beverly was as she was leaving the park, looking back and seeing Beverly watching the performance from the crowd, and that there was, as Patricia described it, a plump woman behind Beverly with one hand on Beverly's shoulder and the other hand holding a small child's hand. According to Patricia, Patricia and Beverly pretty much for all of Showagon stayed to themselves. They didn't really talk to anybody, and Patricia had never seen this woman around town. Even she did not recognize her, she didn't know who she was, and they definitely didn't talk to her at Showagon. This is just a very weird part to this case. Some people think Patricia possibly saw this wrong, that the woman didn't have her hand on Beverly's shoulder, but I feel like personally, I just feel like this is something that you would definitely remember, an incident in your head from the last time you saw one of your best friends. I feel like she is definitely remembering it right, and it's something that definitely doesn't make sense at all. Patricia gets home safely at around 9 p.m. and she has no idea that that day was going to be the last day she ever saw her good friend. At this time, Beverly's family was at home watching the Indians versus Yankees baseball game on television, expecting Beverly to be home soon. 10 p.m. rolls around and Beverly's family is getting quite worried. They don't know where Beverly is, so they decide to phone the Swing household, and Patricia's mother answers and says that Patricia has been home for over 30 minutes now and that Beverly says she wanted to stay for the entire show. Beverly's family started freaking out a little bit, and Beverly's father, Robert Potts, decides to gather up a few people and go to Halloran Park to try to find her. This park had a ton of big trees and was about 13 acres, so it was very hard to find anything, and especially it being dark at the time. After an hour of looking and finding absolutely nothing, they decide to notify police. Although in many photos her hair looks darker, at the time of her disappearance she is stated as having dark blonde hair. She also has blue eyes, was 4 feet 11 inches, weighed 90 pounds, and had a distinct gap in her teeth and a scar above her left eyebrow. She was wearing a white undershirt, a reddish pink turtleneck jersey, blue denim pants, a navy blue jacket, green socks, 2 hair clips, and a gold ring that was missing all the stones. You may be thinking, how do they remember every single detail of what she was wearing? Because in a lot of cases, when the family is asked what the person is wearing who is missing, they don't really remember much, and you can't really blame them. I really don't pay attention personally to everything everyone in my life is wearing, but Beverly's mother put a lot of time into picking out her clothes every day, so she kind of knew what she had on at the time that she left the house. This case, still to this day, is one of the biggest missing persons cases in Cleveland, Ohio history.
One of the most baffling stories ever to be reported in Cleveland. A 63-year-old mystery with still no clues as to what happened to a girl who disappeared from the city's west side.
The day after she went missing, her photo was posted everywhere around the area, and police and thousands of people were looking for this young girl, but no one found anything. Once school started, police decided to go to Beverly's school and start interviewing children. They wanted to see if any children saw Beverly at Showagon or saw anything suspicious, and you have to think that they were interviewing 9, 10, and 11-year-olds, so you know, kids want to be a part of stuff, they want to help, and they want to have their part in it. This was a big thing going on, so a lot of kids came forward, but police really had to be careful and really had to try their hardest to distinguish if these kids were telling the truth. A lot of children fabricated a lot of stories. It was pretty easy for police to tell, so they just had to take extra precaution. One 9-year-old girl said that she saw Beverly enter a green car with 2 men. A couple other people said that they saw Beverly talking to 2 men outside of a black car. There were a lot of supposed sightings of her from that night, things that looked suspicious, but police really didn't know what to believe. One story, though, that police believed came from a 13-year-old boy who said that he saw Beverly after Showagon was over. He started leaving the show on his bike and he saw her walking in the direction of her home. Police asked him how he knew it was Beverly, and he said he knew it was Beverly because she was walking funny. Anyone who knew Beverly knew that she had, as many people said, a duck-like walk. She would walk with her feet pointing outwards, and he said that's how he knew it was her. So if this boy's story is true, and police believed that it was true, Beverly was abducted on her way home, only a few minutes from her house. So a little bit of time went on in this case, but it was still fresh, and the police and Beverly's family were receiving so many calls from people, some giving tips and some completely harassing them. One person called the Potts family saying they wanted $25,000 in cash delivered to an address and that they would give back Beverly. So this guy requests that Beverly's mother, Elizabeth Potts, brings the $25,000 on this date at this time to this location. So a detective goes in Elizabeth's place. He dresses up as Elizabeth, puts on a wig, a big fur jacket, and stuffs a bag with a bunch of shredded paper and a $5 bill and goes to meet this guy. So this guy supposedly holding Beverly, he sees the person walking towards the location with the bag, and he notices that this person is a lot bigger than a woman would be, so he starts booking it. The detective runs after him and arrests him. They search this man's home and car and realize that this guy has no connection to Beverly at all, and he just wanted the money. So this case just runs flat again. After this incident, no substantial evidence ever came forward as to what happened to this little girl, but there are some theories and some suspects. So let's get into those right now. The first theory is that she was abducted by someone she knew. Beverly was known for being extremely untrustworthy and a bit scared of men and older boys she did not know. Many say she would never have voluntarily went with someone she did not trust, so possibly she got into a car with someone she thought would take her home, but instead had different plans. Although she was quite young, she babysat for people in the neighborhood. Possibly one of the parents had something to do with it, but this is just a theory. The next is that the woman Patricia saw behind Beverly may have had something to do with her disappearance. Beverly was cautious of men, but possibly she would have trusted a woman. The woman was someone Patricia did not recognize and was never found or questioned. Many think Patricia's memory may have been a little foggy and got the details wrong, while others consider it to be a big part of this case. One early suspect was a man named Harvey Lee Rush, who came forward in 1955 telling police he killed Beverly after luring her near a bridge with candy. Rush, though, said that he killed her in 1952, which wasn't even the correct year. He later told police that he made it up because he had been extradited from Cleveland and just used the false confession as a way to get back into his hometown. In 1974, two Cleveland detectives, James First and Robert Shankland, received a tip from a local attorney. The attorney said that his client's brother said that he may have abducted Beverly. The detective questioned the brother, and he said that he used to live close to Halloran Park and would very often abduct and molest young girls, and he had flashes in his head of one of the girls claiming her name was Beverly. The detectives believed him, but the county prosecutor's office said that there was not enough evidence to pursue anything. In 1988, a man named William Henry Redmond was convicted for the 1951 Pennsylvania murder of an 8-year-old girl named Jane Marie Althoff. While in prison, he admitted to a cellmate he killed 3 other young girls around that time. Police questioned him about Beverly Potts, but he absolutely refused to give a statement. In the beginning of 2000, reporter Brent Larkin of the Cleveland Plain Dealer started receiving letters from an anonymous man who claimed he was elderly and before his death would like to admit to the murder of Beverly Potts. He said he would turn himself in on August 24th, 2001 on the 50th anniversary. This never happened though, because in his last letter he said he was entering a nursing home and wouldn't be able to honor his promise. After research into this, Larkin and most police believe it was a complete hoax. The latest possible lead was in 2015 when the Cleveland Police Department received a tip from an anonymous person. The person provided information about a possible suspect and they gave a lot of detail, not released to the public. Police took it into social media and news stations and asked if the anonymous person could please call back and give more information. No one ever called again, and it was looked into, and many investigators came to think that it was just another false alarm. This August, Beverly Potts will be missing 67 years. The sad thing though is that even if this case was solved tomorrow, it would be amazing, but Beverly's mother, father, and sister have all long passed away.
Beverly had that love of watching people dance and making music. My mother, in her late teens and early 20s, had been a dancer.
There was an excitement to going down there to see these performers.
So she had gotten permission from my mother to stay to the end of the show. Although I'm sure my mother wasn't aware that Patsy Swing had been told to be home by 9 p.m. and the show ran beyond 9.
And you're on your own, you're not with your mother and father.
There are a lot of people out there who still have hope. Anita's children still have faith that their aunt's disappearance may still be solved. Through the years, their mother put in a lot of effort into making sure that Beverly was never forgotten. So definitely let me know what you think about this case down below in the comments. If you personally ask me what my opinion of it is and what I think may have happened, I'm not saying I'm right, this is just a theory. I think the person who abducted Beverly possibly went to Showagon that year with the objective to abduct a child, just because there were so many children that went to that festival every year. This was a park that Beverly went to all the time and she never had any problems, and at one of the biggest events of the year held at this park, she goes missing. I think this disgusting person saw her and saw an opportunity and succeeded at what they were trying to do. There are a lot of cases where the parents kind of look suspicious, and I think this case is just not one of those cases. Beverly's parents put in so much work through the years to try to find their daughter. It's just so heartbreaking that this little girl disappeared like 5 minutes from her house. I completely understand why parents are so overprotective at times, honestly. But definitely let me know down in the comments more cases you want me to include in my Vintage and Vanish series. I love you guys so much, and we'll see you guys in my next video. Bye guys.